all. Now, to incorporate, Sal also wants me to talk about some of the tickers that he put in Sal alerts. So I'm actually going to use those tickers to go through it, right? This will kind of be a really light version of it. I'm not going to get like completely in depth, but just kind of show how I chart things out with the strat only. The recording has started, so you should be good. I'm using bar rewind. Yo, why ain't nobody tell me about the bar replay that has you could choose the random bar? This whole time I've been selecting dates. I ain't know you could choose a random bar. Yo, my back testing is gonna get to a whole nother level of this shit. Like looking at random bars and just like finding the same setups over and over and over again. Can't be connect. Oh shit. Yeah, don't worry about that, y'all. That's because I left my trading view open. I gotta really do better than that. Anyway, so we're gonna go over some tickers and some plays that could set us up possibly for the end of the week. You can use it as a lotto. I try to be versatile, that you can use it as a lotto for the end of the week, or you can even use it as a swing as well too. Just so you know, I'm primarily a swing trader, so I am a fan of time. I don't really give a shit about all the craziness that happens on these lower time frames. Frankly, it's all just noise to me, right? So I have a tendency to look at swing trading monthly, weekly, daily, and if you want, you can just start on the hour. You don't have to use hybrid time frames like mine. It's not it doesn't give you the 65 in my opinion doesn't give a great advantage over the hour, but I personally like the 65. I will say when it comes to some of the daily hybrid time frames, I really like the two day through the 5 day, especially if you're looking to trade something like maybe 2 weeks out or whatever. When these are given actionable signals, they're pretty cool. But yeah, let's get into it. Do we have Biker on just in case? Let's see. I guess he couldn't make it. All right, no worries. No worries, because he's also a strat trader as well too. So again, for those of you who are on, there's going to be more of a teaching thing about the strat. And the reason why I'm kind of pushing this and wanting you to learn foundation, and I get it. Let me say this first. I get it. It's real hard to be patient when you're seeing like a shit ton of money being made in the market in this group by the admins as well as by other people. So I get it, right? But the thing that those other people have is the discipline, right? Sticking to their foundation, right? So you can't really build the four walls of the house without the foundation first. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing, right? We're wanting that home run swing because in a sense, honestly, we kind of like as a whole, the admins make it look really easy. They really do, right? And it's kind of the Jordan effect, right? He made it look really easy, so people thought like, "Yo, this shit must be easy." He didn't really have anything, That's not to start an argument. I'm just using him as an example. All right. Frankly, I don't really give a fuck if it starts an argument, but we're here to learn. Let me stop here. Okay, good. So,
Hey, I want to mention something. I know y'all see that shit going on with the meme.
hey, come back to the mic. You sound mad far away, yo. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
know y'all see them the meme plays going off and shit, but me personally, I'm gonna stay away from them. That ain't nothing but gambling. I know I got in that BB play, but I'm not touching that shit. I mean, you don't know when that shit gonna sell off. Um, that shit, from what I'm hearing, that shit's supposed to squeeze again. But like I say, I'm personally not entering that shit. And if you got a small account, I wouldn't advise you to do so either. I know some people gonna call it out, but I'm basically just trying to warn y'all from what could potentially happen. That FOMO is real. Some people gonna make some money off of it, and some people gonna get smacked on their ass. You know what I'm saying? Just being brutally honest. Cause that shit don't go by no charts. That shit go by, other extenuating factors.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix this damn thing, but I don't remember. Oh, did that work? That, get rid of that. Give me 1 second, y'all. Just bear with me. Settings, change. That, and then and we'll have to figure that out later. All right, we'll have to figure that shit out later. Okay. In the meantime, we'll just come back there, and let me come back to sharing. Where is it? There we go. All right, share screen. And go. Okay. All right. So yeah, Sal brought up a good point with the memes. Generally, the reason why I stay away from them because they run up for no rhyme or reason. They're literally running up off of the word of something said on social media. To me, that's dangerous. Honestly, I'm glad keeping it a stack. I'm glad those who made money, but I bet you there were some yesterday who probably jumped into calls at the end, and you don't have to say it's you, but who jumped into calls at the end of the day to swing it overnight into today's session, and I'm pretty sure you lost money on that, right? Especially if you got something high like I don't know, the 10 call, 15 call, or whatever, it dropped down. I mean, it's fun to watch, but yeah. So anyway, first and foremost, let's talk about the candles and what they represent, right? So inside candles, right? You want them, those represent consolidation. Obviously, it doesn't take out the high or the low. Ideally, you want those to be pretty much where you would see hammers and shooters because they can also signal a reversal, right? So you would want to see inside candles at the top of the range or at the bottom of the range. But either way, you can still use inside candles, even though the strat is a reversal strategy. You can still use inside candles um, to as continuations as well too, because there's still an actionable signal, right? So like for example, here we get a 2 down here, we get an inside candle. You could actually make that. Sorry, that would have been your entry there. You could actually use that as an entry to take it down lower, and as you can see, it gets from 159 down to what's that 147-ish, right? So with something like this, you could have probably used that and probably even grabbed like the 150 puts, and then boom, you would have been dealing nice, right? Next, we have, again, I'm going to kind of go through this, but if there's any questions about the candles, let me know. Next, we have 2 up and 2 down candles. That's, in other words, a scenario 2. Basically, the market's going in the direction of, whichever the most twos that you're seeing, right? So if you're seeing, and this is strat-wise, again, not explaining ICT, but if you're seeing a lot of green twos, obviously the market's in an uptrend. If you're seeing a lot of red twos or 2 downs, then the market is obviously heading in a downtrend. Obviously, I'm looking at the daily, but if you want to see like bigger trends, you want to look at the higher time frames as well too. But with the most twos right here, you can kind of see, well, at least recently, you can kind of see that market's currently in a downtrend, right? 3 candles, most important, in my opinion. They signal aggression. You cannot have a 3 candle without being a 2 first. If you don't get what that means, please go ahead and ask. But you cannot have a 3 candle without being a 2 first. And also, a 3 candle is a reversal candle. What this means is during this time frame, so on this particular day, August 11th of 2022, price took out the high of the previous candle and then reversed and took out the low. So the reason why that's important, because that signals aggression, right? Whether it be buy side aggression or sell side aggression, it signals aggression. So when you get these outside candles, it's very important to pay attention to them, because more times than not, you're looking for that continuation, either the 3-2 down or the 3-2 up, right? Also, on smaller time frames, a 3 is a broadening formation. So if we were to draw, boom, boom, and boom, boom. If we were to draw from the high of this candle back to the previous high, and then the low of this candle back to the previous low, and then zoom in on, let's say we'll say the hour. Oh, I forgot that I have it set to, my bad. Low and below. There you go. And come back to the hour. There we go. Right. Actually, I probably should zoom in on the 4 hour a little bit better. But as you can see, this is the 3 heading backwards, right? So we got the 3, where is it? Over here. Right? So this is a 3 heading backwards, right? So as you can see, price starts on the low, expands to the high, comes back to the low, and then even though it doesn't touch the top of the broadening formation, it still creates a higher high because it got above the previous, oh shit, my bad. It got above the previous high. So we made we made a higher high there. And at the time, our next low is, what was the low? The low is here, right? There, right? Touch the low. So then we make a lower low right here, right? So now we're just looking to bounce off of that and make a higher high and just continue expanding, because that's what broader formations do. It's just a series of price expanding to making higher highs or lower lows. What makes broadening formations important? One, it gives you a range, but then also more importantly, let me get rid of this. It gives you a range, but also more importantly, it gives you places of where price can exhaust and reverse back to the downside, right? So when you get to the top of a range, ideally you're looking for exhaustion, and the most ideal candle that you would look for with exhaustion, even though this is bullish, it's the only shooter that pops in my head or looking at this chart, is a shooter, right? So when you're getting to the top of a range, again, we broke this high up here. When you're getting to the top of a range, or you're making a higher high again at the top of the range, what we're looking for ideally is a shooter or possibly an inside candle, because we're looking for that reversal back to the downside. So again, we make a higher high up here at 205.66. And ideally, if you have the patience, depending on what you're trying to do or what time frame is happening, you're looking for price to expand past the low, right? So again, at this point in time, we have a high, right? We made a higher high. And again, from this 3, we did make a lower low. We also made a lower low here as well too, but we did make a lower low, right? So what we're looking for when we make that low from that swing low, we're looking for price to come out and take out that low again. So as you can see here with this high, right, with the top of the broadening formation, we get the shooter, we get the reversal back to the downside. We make a low. So we know at some point, if price is going to continue expanding, just like how it should with how a broadening formation says, if it's going to continue expanding, we know at some point price is going to eventually come back down and hit this target. So you get your previous high, and then you get a low, then you see price expanding back to the upside. Now we don't make a higher high, right? So therefore we don't have an expansion and a broadening formation, but we do end up with an actionable signal. What you can then use is this previous low over here as a target, right? And again, it's going to take some time. I'm talking about swinging. I'm not talking about something that would be immediate, but you can use that 165 as your target once you get confirmation of that reversal, right? So when you get to the top of the broadening formation, you get that shooter, and then you get that reversal. Now, how would you trade that, or how would you play that, I guess? Actually, let's rewind it back to All right, so change that, you would make that entry, right? So we came back to the top of the range again. We obviously couldn't make a higher high. We're seeing signs of exhaustion even again, even though it's bullish, it's still a shooter, right? So doesn't mean, now I want to be clear, it doesn't mean that every time you see a shooter that it's going to automatically reverse. This is the reason why we wait for the confirmation. So we have our call entry, and then just in case, if it were to, there we go. If it were to reverse on us and continue heading, because this is an uptrend, right? If it's reverse on us and continue heading and to take out those highs, then we want to have a target, or we want to have a game plan for if that were to happen, right? So obviously, if it does trigger to the upside, then we're looking for another high that we can target after it takes out not only this entry, but also this high. I would probably choose something a little bit longer out, because obviously that high, it's probably going to get taken out as soon as the daily entry gets triggered. But anyway, if we're thinking to the downside, right? Let's go here, play it out. All right, so we get our trigger, right? We get our trigger. It starts off, and immediately, as a matter of fact, it started the session triggering already from the jump, right? So when that happens, what you can do is one or two things. You can jump in immediately if you want to, if you don't have the patience, or what you can do is what I normally do, which is wait about a half an hour to an hour, right? Price is probably going to come back and try to test that entry before continuing down. In this case, it didn't necessarily do it. It just immediately started heading down. But you can wait for a price. Rob always talks about that, the original OG of the strat. You don't always have to be the first one in. You can wait for it to come back and then jump in. It's probably going to come back and test entry, but let's see what happens. So let's say we got into these puts, right? Oh, I'm sorry, stop loss. So for me as a swing trader, if it triggers to the downside, then I'm using the other side as my stop loss. So if it were to trigger calls, then I'm using the put entry as my stop loss. If it triggers puts, then I'm using the call entry as my stop loss. So I would just change this to stop loss. Now, I'm not giving you the personal way that I do it. I'm giving it to you the way Strat teaches it, because I really want a foundation here, right? I got to keep it real. Like, I'm seeing a lot of things where, like, I'm seeing, y'all posting, I got 200, 300%, and then later on, after the rah dies down, it's like, then those questions, are you still in this? Or I'm down 30%. It's like, for what? You know what I'm saying? And to me, that tells me that, one, you don't have take profits. You don't have take profit targets, and you don't have a stop loss. My apologies. I forgot to mark out what would be my take profit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that right there, because I'm targeting. I'll just put it as take profit, right?
While you doing that, Tensho, I'm gonna add. Damn, I can't hear in my ear. While you doing that, I'm gonna add. Not only may you not have a stop loss, you may not realize when something is reversing and it's not going your way anymore. So yeah, it could be heading towards your take profit, and let's say it stops, halfway, three quarters, whatever the case may be, and it starts reversing. Um, you may put it in your head that, oh, it's going to get there, which is not a bad thing, to trust that it's going to get to a stop, to its take part, it's your price target. But what if data came out, or something that you're missing came out? You want to be aware of everything that's going on.
Absolutely.
So it's not reversing on you, and you just holding like, oh, it's going to get there, it's going to get there, and now you're down 30%.
Absolutely. I agree with that 200%, because you have to understand, and this is with any strategy, not really with the strat, you don't know what you don't know, right? Essentially, when you are trading, and I don't mean this in a scary way, but when you are trading, you are essentially navigating a minefield, right? Yes, the chart, trust the chart. I'm not saying don't trust the chart. Please don't think I'm negating that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to swinging, I trust the chart a lot. However, to Biker's point, you don't know what you don't know. That retracement, or that you think that is a retracement, could be an entire reversal. It's like what did Phil post about AMC? I think like a dilution, right? So a lot of people probably were still loading up on calls as this thing was dropping today, thinking like, oh, okay, well, this is, whatever. And then the news breaks that it's they filed for a share dilution. Yeah, that's a reversal. That's not a retracement. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's one thing I do want to I'll talk about as well too, when to know to get out. Like, yes, you may have your target, but like Biker said, you're not automatically going to hit target every single time, right? So when to know to get out, right? And that's one of the things that the strat is about, defending your winners and cutting the losers real quick. And yes, I get that it's not it actually goes against my personal trading strategy as far as patience, and I do have a tendency to have a little bit of a larger stop loss, and I do have a tendency to just have patience on things. Like for example, McDonald's strat-wise, McDonald's would have said cut that a long time. Excuse me, strat-wise, the McDonald's play, I should have cut that a long time ago. But I'm also using different things. But anyway, I digress. So what to do? Let's see if we can actually get that scenario, because I'm doing this blind. I'm hoping that price. Oh, okay. So technically strat-wise, right? So we have our entry, right? We get all the way down to this low here. And then on the next candle, it breaks the high, right? Now, I would say, according to Strat Soldier, once that happens, you get out the trade. It's done, right? You take your little bit of profit. Obviously, it wouldn't be that much because your target is 165. You take your little profit, but more importantly, you live to fight another day, right? You keep your capital. The name of the game is defense. You keep your capital, you keep it moving, you look for the next play. Maybe that play will work out a little bit better. For me, though, because I'm swing trading, I would probably wait to see how this day closes. So I'm keeping to the stack. I wouldn't be out of this trade yet. All right. Let's keep it moving. Right. So it taps again and again, but it does not close above. So again, I'm still in the trade. Actually, let me get rid of this. Right. So from 193, currently we have taken out, we've run it all the way down to 178. So I think we can all agree like that trade would definitely be in, green or in profit at the time. Let me make sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to come back to the chat. That scenario occurred with BA. I noticed the reversal got out before. Yeah, yeah, right. So, and with B, and that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get BA is it was probably put city, right? You probably got in puts. I haven't looked at the chart, but I'm pretty sure it's probably puts, right? It wasn't running up, because if it was puts, you gotta understand it's not. Even though like, they're getting constant bad news and they're either killing off people or that's actually not funny. I'm sorry. That if this is true, it's not funny. But you get my point. They're either, they're doing stuff and their product isn't working. You're not gonna like BA is government funded, if I'm not mistaken. That shit's not gonna die, right? It's so at some point it's gonna take out a low that it was triggering, right? And it's gonna reverse. So when it takes out that low, and I want you to get in the habit of marking out previous lows and previous highs that have not been taken out, because that's going to create your broadened formation, right? There's many broadened formations you can draw, but I especially pay attention to previous lows and previous highs that are taken out on the weekly. And when they do get taken out, that's the broadened formation. And therefore, you have an opportunity for a reversal back to the upside, right? But anyway, we still in this trade. Back to the trade. Let's continue on, right? So we looking for snow. Keep going. All right, we'll move it down. So we definitely in profit now. Still in profit. Boom, target hit. Now, keeping it a stack. You greedy motherfuckers, you would stay in this. Tell the truth. We got an outside candle. Yeah. We good. Yeah, this shit gonna keep going. And it very well could, because I'm doing this blind. So I'm not sure if this is gonna reverse or not. But this is where the discipline kicks in, right? I'm sorry, let me see can you draw a broad enough? I tried it and passed it today. Okay, so I can draw a broad information on SPY, but I do want to touch on that, Leon. I'm not sure what your name is in the Discord, but broadening formations, yes, they do show an expansion of the range, but that doesn't mean that they can't be broken, right? I look at broadening formations as support and resistance, right? So if price breaks through a broadening formation, I don't immediately get rid of it because more than likely it's gonna come back to revisit that same broadening formation and either bounce off of it or it's gonna trade right back through it. All right. Uh, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just let me know. 1-2 with a shoot. Hell yeah, boy. Inside candle with a 2-up shooter. We talking that rep strat now. Yes, for sure. I really fucking because like now that stay away from ICT. All right. But yeah, I love 1-2 rev strat. I do. I definitely love those the best. I love the 3-2 rev strats too, but 1-2s are definitely becoming my favorite. At me next time. At you next time when I do what? What happened? I don't know what I don't
Well,
know
you
what else.
said you said y'all greedy motherfuckers would have stayed in.
Yeah, yeah. This look. I know. Look, I'm speaking from experience, right? I know all the like, for lack of a better word, dumb shit newer traders do. Like the whole like I'm not trying to be negative, but from experience, I expect, right, when we have days like this, I expect somebody to say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm down 50% now." Why? Because I didn't take profit. I know exactly why you didn't take profit. You got greedy. It's FOMO. You wanted just a little more. And then when oh yeah, 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 it's just a pullback. No worries. It's just a pullback. Yeah, it's coming back. It's coming back, right? And then you check, and then you start checking the chat to see if people still have the same sentiment as you. It's like, okay, they still thinking bearish too, or okay, they still thinking bullish too, and then that shit reverses. Now, while those people in the chat are still thinking bullish, they're actually still out of the trade. They're just watching the charts. And when that shit reverses, they're like, they already got their profit, but you're like, oh shit. Now you look around, you're the only one in the room that was still in the trade. If that shit don't sound familiar, you're lying to yourself. Anyway, let's continue. So what happens next? See, so hold on. Well, let's see how it plays out that way. But so far, what have we done? We took out a previous low, right? So now we've created the bottom of our broadening formation. Let's see if now we see if price is going to respect it. We made a lower low. Now we have an inside candle, which is an actionable signal. Remember what I said earlier, where we would like to see inside candles ideally, right? We want to see them either at the top or the bottom of a range to signal a potential reversal. But let me stop. I see two things in the chat. Oh shit. Good enough. Yeah. So now let's see what happens, right? Now, strat-wise, again, you should have taken profit. We're just playing this out to see if we catch that reversal, right? So we get that 3-2 up, still 2 down. We haven't gotten away just yet. I still wouldn't have taken that. We come down and test the broadening formation again. So now we've made a lower low.
Can y'all spot like when something is about to consolidate kind of before it happens? Like, does anybody in the chat know how to do it or struggle how to do it? Does anybody know how to like I mean, you may not be right, but do you know like the signs that it may consolidate? I want to see if somebody know.
I mean, I usually like if there's a big like run up or like run down, then I expect for it to then consolidate for a little while.
Okay. Yeah, I like that answer. That definitely can happen. As far as
Same
looking
for me.
as far as looking from like candle to candle, when you see a big range, like a 3-1 and it has a big range, there's a good possibility that it may consolidate within that range. Another thing is when you see like a hammer and a shooter right next, oh, right there. Yep. When you see like a shooter and a hammer next to each other, that's just a dead giveaway that it's about to consolidate. I usually like to see it early in the price action. That's kind of later. It's already obviously consolidating.
Mhm.
But that's one of the reasons why I don't love 3-1s. 3-1s are great setups, but a lot of them lead to consolidation. So whenever you see a big range like that 3 right there, there's a chance that it may consolidate within that range before it decides to break out. And when you see a shooter and a hammer next to each other, it's probably about to consolidate.
Yep. And then another thing I want to add to that, when Biker's talking about the 3-1s, for me, the next candle, the next two after that 3-1, like if it's a 2, obviously if it goes double inside, I'm letting it consolidate. But I've learned or seen so many times, you get a 3-1, let's say followed by a 2 up. Usually that candle is the manipulation, and then you get the 2 down, right? I've noticed that combo is really converted into that more often, right? You get the 3-1-2, it'd either be a 3-1-2 up or a 3-1-2 down, but the next candle negates what that first 2 did, usually, right? But yes, to Biker's point, I also want to elaborate on that as far as the consolidation. I also want to talk about 3 candles being mother bars as well too, right? So what I'm saying with that is with mother bars, like Biker's saying, price can just consolidate within that range of that mother bar and take a little good minute before it either gets out of it or, well, no, just basically gets out of it. Sorry, lost my train of thought for a second. And as you can see, it does here, but again, we didn't close outside of that range. So for me, that's not something I'm not going to take that, nor am I really going to start thinking puts either, simply because, again, we're still stuck in the range, right? And then we get another teaser here where we go again a little bit lower. But notice how we are, we created that lower low and we just made a new broad information and that's it. So no sign of reversal, a lot of sign of consolidation. The bodies are staying inside, the bodies and the wicks, the majority of them are staying inside of the range of this mother bar. This is where patience comes into play. A lot of people honestly would probably see this 3-1 because I think that's what happens. A lot of people who are focused on the strat don't understand necessarily the why behind it, just the mechanics of it, right? And the mechanics of it tells you if you get a 3-1, a holy grail, right? You take, let's rewind for a second, hold on. If you get a holy grail, right? That's your setup. So this would be your entry, right? If it takes the 1 up, that's a call. If it takes the 1 down, that's a put, right? So what happens on the next candle? We go 2 up, right? Just barely. So let's say you got into that trade, right? Let's say you were impulsive and you got into that trade. Now you're in a losing trade. One, because I'm gonna let it play out to the other 2 candles. All right. So now it's in a losing trade, right? On the next day, because you are still you're still stuck in the range. Also, you went calls and it completely reversed on you and hit your stop loss. I'm sorry, my bad, my apologies. It didn't hit the stop loss. My apologies. I forgot. That would have been your call. That would have been your calls. That would have been the stop loss down there. But it reverses on you, and obviously that trade is now considered a bad trade. Your only hope would have been something like that. But honestly, if you're greedy, you would have said, "Oh yeah, we're up now. We're good." So you would have let it try to keep running, especially if it was a swing, only for it to reverse on you. All right. So I'm saying that to say, pay attention to these mother bars. What ideally you would want to happen is for me, and Biker could give, I'll open the floor to Biker to give a different reason about how to play those threes. The mother bars, I should say, once it closes above, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to close above that. Then I'll consider playing or entering in a trade once it gets out of that mother bar range. But if it gets inside of this range, you're literally, or the possibilities are that you get chopped up. And especially if you have like a short time frame, let's say this would have been a Wednesday. So if you would have gotten a weekly, yeah, your contract would have probably, depending on the theta of your contract, you probably would have been fucked by the time Thursday closed. So, like, if you want to give any insight on how you play mother bars, or if you don't touch them at all good, whichever one you said.
Yeah, I honestly don't even touch them. I know we're not talking about ICT, but I'll talk from a price action standpoint. Noticing that we're in consolidation, I know we can't be there forever, so I will wait for it to expand one way and then retrace. That's how I would play it. But I don't touch mother bars, and I really don't touch 3-1s either. Not to say that you shouldn't, but I back tested the hell out of them, and they wasn't favorable in my opinion.
They're not, yeah. I would agree with that. They're not. Like I said, I wait for the next candle after the two, and see how that plays out.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten screwed. I haven't back tested like Biker has, but I've gotten screwed plenty of times on Holy Grails, and I'm not trying to turn you off to them because I'm still gonna notice a Holy Grail when it sets up, and I'm still gonna call it out. But I've noticed that more often than not, it's more manipulation than it is like a true move. All right, so let's just keep playing it out. So we have the broadened information, right? We kind of got a little hammer here, but again, we're stuck in a range. So let's see what happens next. All right, see, so now we close outside of the mother bar, right? So now I'm probably going to be a little interested. I know it's not a reversal entry, but now that we've closed outside of the mother bar, now I can look at this too and maybe get the continuation. All right, we'll see how it plays out before I decide to enter anything. Oh, shit, wrong one. So let's clear out entries. All right. Let's see what happens. All right, so I like that we tried to come back and close the gap. And obviously that didn't really work out for the Bears. So I might have taken entry at this point, whether I'm right or wrong, but I might have taken entry if it were me watching this, right? Especially with the reversal. I like the fact that the Bulls came back in strength. So we take the 184, and honestly, if I'm swinging, which I do, right? I'm gonna put some time on it, and I'm probably gonna target the 203.62. Go ahead, whoever's gonna say something. Oh, I thought somebody was gonna say. All right, I thought somebody.
Oh, I'm off mute. That's my bad. I'm off
Okay,
mute.
no, you good, you good, you good. All right, so let's see what happens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. My stop loss would be down here, right? Now, it is a 3, but if you look at the candle's telling you a story. We opened here, we first started out as a 2 down, right? So at the beginning of the day or whenever, this was a 2-2 reversal to the downside. Tried to close the gap, couldn't really do it. And then the bulls stepped back in force to turn it 3, right? That's how I know, that's how you can tell it's a bullish. Obviously, the color is going to tell you, but if you were just looking and you didn't have a color or a 3 up there, that's how the candle tells that story. So keep it moving. Let's see what happens. What we're looking for is exactly what we got, which is a 3-2. All right. Now, if you could have some. I do want to talk about some take profit targets along the way. And when I say take profit, I mean like other people, other traders, or the algos may take profits at these highs, which is or magnitudes, if you will. That's what the strat calls them. These highs are also called magnitudes. So you may catch a little resistance here because there might be some profit taking around those highs, right? High there, high there, high there. And yeah, right. So you just have to. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought my laptop was messing up. You just have to be aware of those highs because again, those could be take profit. There may be people who have entered or traders who have entered here, right? And probably targeting somewhere around these highs to get out, right? So just be aware of that. But so far we got what we wanted. First magnitude taken out, second magnitude taken out. And then let's see what happens. See? So this take profit area right here was obviously resistant. So once the market opened the following day, so we're in at 184, it got up to 189, not big profit, but would still be something. It got up to 189 once the market opened, and actually no, I'm closing for a loss. My apologies. Once the market opened, and then it triggers this reversal right here. Let me get rid of these.
Tensho, can you mark 50% of that range real quick? I want to see something.
From here to here? Or
No,
here to
from
here?
from the consolidation.
There?
Yep, from the low of the range to the high. I
Up
want
to
to see
here?
some. No, just of the consolidation. That
There.
range that it was stuck in. Yep.
Okay. What's up?
And then mark the high of that shooter at the top.
Right here?
No, the one all the way at the top. That's that it fell from. Yep, from there to the low, to that 3 low. I just want to see something.
Boom to boom.
Okay.
Almost
Yeah.
hit your OTE entry. Done. Okay, that explains it. But still hitting that 0.62. Done. Yeah.
This is still bullish to me, but I think it's go fall first. But I wanted to just.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right. But yeah, so what we're looking at, so here's where the fibs come into play, and that's not necessarily a strat thing, but it's still a good tool to have. So what we're seeing is on this run up, right? You got your equilibrium, you got the, well, I put the 0.62, but the 0.618, and then also I do the 0.705. But when it hits those levels, usually somewhere, basically anywhere above the 0.5, it's now at premium. So this would be a good place for price to sell, right? If it's below premium, excuse me, if it's below equilibrium, it's at discount, it's a good place to go buy, right? So algos, keep it simple like that. Buy low, sell high, and that's exactly what happened here. It came back up, hit that 0.62, and that's all she wrote. But this would have been a losing trade, right? We took the 3 up and it was a losing trade. It is what it is. The point is, though, you had the discipline, right? Once it triggered 182.71, you had the discipline to get out, right? From 184, you got out at 182. You get out, you save your portfolio, and you live to fight another day, right? That's the point of it. That's the defense. The problem is that a lot of people in the group, and hopefully you're on this call, and I don't mean it in a negative way to get on you. The problem is you would have stayed. You got this reversal, right? And you would have stayed, and it could have it did, right? Instead of getting out when you should have, which is right here at 182.79, you probably get out, I don't know, somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around there. And then it just made a lower low, and therefore now we have a new broadening formation. Let me stop. I see some things. Man, the way y'all see that so quick. Years, Nelson, H. Nelson. Years. This is year 3 for me on the strat. And I'm not gonna lie, there's still some new strat shit that I see from time to time. Do you go low to high for fibs, or on an uptrend, or swing high? So on an uptrend, oh yeah, downtrend would be from the high to the low, right? Uptrend would be from the low to the high. And then that's where, right, Becker, I'm right? And then you come
Yeah,
back
no,
to
you're right.
the retracement.
You're right. But to add to that, the reason, okay, so you are right. It goes from a low to a high and an uptrend, and a high to a low and a downtrend. The reason I had him go from the high to the low is I wanted to see possible areas for reversal. So if I'm in calls, I want to see what is the defense on me, right? Like if I'm thinking it's going up, what can the people that think it's going down, what are they going to look at? So when I get into calls, the first thing I do is I think like a bear, and then I go from the high to the low and see what levels can stand in my way. So if it blow past all of those levels, I'm good, nothing to worry about. If it starts struggling at those levels, then I want to see how it reacts to those levels. But that's why I asked him to do that. And if you do fibs enough, you can kind of eyeball it. I figured it would go up there though.
Yeah. So Shelly, to answer your question, I'm going to answer it the way that I would. I'm not going to say this is the ultimate right answer, right, or the rule for everybody else. But for me, I probably, once I saw that we couldn't close above these highs, right? How they're tightly packed together, and we've seen exhaustion here before. I probably would have exited the trade at that point. Now, to answer your question about the fibs, all right, and you're seeing that as a potential, you could, right? I wouldn't use that as the only reason to get out of the trade, but um, if I'm seeing in combination with, actually, did I draw it there or did I draw it here? Hold on.
It's actually never a reason to get out the trade. It's a reason to turn your eyeballs on. But I do that with every single trade, so I'm not getting out at the 618. But if you pair that with something else, like if you look to
Right,
the left, we have a swing high. That's going to be an issue, and it's at
right,
a 618. So you have to start looking like at your surroundings. But I'm not getting out because it's at a 618. I want
right.
it to go past the 618. That's the goal, but it didn't.
Thank you. That, yes, exactly what Biker said. Hit it right on the head. I use this in addition to support theories, right? So for me, the initial reason for me to want to get out of the trade would have been here, right? The fact that we didn't close above these highs, right? Telling me that, well, we closed above one. I think we wicked off the second one. So that to me would have told me like, okay, maybe we're not going to get past this. We might catch a reversal here, right? And then I would use the fibs to kind of maybe help that. But no, that would never be the only reason that I get out of a trade. Let me see what else is coming. Q question. Got it. Okay, perfect. Yay. Thank you guys so much for the engagement. Real shit. Like, seriously, like I hate just doing lectures, and I'm sure Biker feels the same way. I hate that shit. Um, love the interaction. All right. But let's let this play out for a second, right? So we've taken out the lows, but solid candle, right? Um, and that's another thing I want to point out. When price takes out a low or a high for that matter and creates a new broad information, I'm not going to draw the broad information just yet with a candle like this because it's solid, right? Now it could reverse. If it does reverse, then I'll go ahead and draw it. But this is a solid candle, so there's a chance that we're going to continue lower, right? But let's see how that plays out. I'm not going to draw the broad information just yet. And if we do continue lower, right, now I'm paying attention to this low, right? Because we got past all of that and we're still heading lower. So now, did we just cross below this low? And we did, right? Again, I'm not going to say we're going to reverse just yet, but this is where I'm training my eyes or, paying attention, if you will. We just made a lower low, right? So now we're seeing what happens next. Are we going to catch that reversal? Are we going to catch an inside? Are we going to continue heading lower? Maybe to take out this low or possibly take out this low, this 3. That's a low right here as well, too. So let's see what happens. So, all right. So we get a 2-2 reversal, right? Now for me, it's close, so I'm not ready to enter that yet. But if we get a 2-2 continuation, I might, instead of a swing, I might, get an entry. If this goes 2-2 continuation, I might take that entry up, maybe targeting the next magnitude, which is 176, and I might put some time on it, right? Because that's obviously a move right there. So if we get we'll probably look at the 175s and it's on the daily, so I might just go 2 weeks out, right? So if it does trigger, then I might take that. So let's see what happens.
So now, Shelly, now you can use these as the fibs as price target. If you go from the high to the low, and let's say we keep continuing up, now you can use those fibs as price targets because you don't have anything else to go off of besides the strat. You see how high that next price target is? That's pretty
Right,
high.
right,
So now what you can do is you could take your fib from the high to the low, and then you'll see key levels that you might want to get out just in case it reverses back to the downside. So it's a lot of different ways you can use fibs. Yeah, let's see how it plays out though.
right. So I'm gonna just leave. This is what you meant, right? Just from that
Yep,
one to that
that's
one.
what I
Right?
meant.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna leave this up because if it does reverse, you got the equilibrium, right? Then you start getting in the area of premium. So let's see. So if you were thinking, as a matter of fact, you could probably, if you get good enough with the fibs, you could probably use it both ways, right? Look at targets that you can hit for calls, and then if you see it reversing, but I digress. We'll get into another video with that. Hold on one second. Let me see. Notice how fast price drop. How far are you going out with your expiration on the downside play? All right. So if that's a good question. What's your consideration for the price target you identify? So if we're talking, you said downside play, but I'm talking about calls right now. So you must have been talking about what from here down here? I mean, if
Yeah, I was just curious with that initial play that you and I mean either one, but I think that downside play was pretty smooth.
Okay.
And you didn't have all that back and forth action. So I was, you never know what you're gonna get, but I was just kind of curious with that because you identified your that swing low
Yeah.
as your
Yeah.
price target, and
Right.
and it was pretty far down. So I guess I was just curious with how far would you go out, because I'm thinking, maybe I wouldn't have gone out far enough and I wouldn't have caught all of that.
Well, for me, and again, this is not like the all-knowing right answer. I love time. So for me, if I'm triggering what was this? The trigger was what up here at 193, and what was I targeting down here at 165? So I'm also paying attention to the ATR as well too. So I see that this ticker moves $11 a day. Now, again, that does not mean that it's just going to move straight up $11 or straight down $11. But
Right.
the fact that it moves $11 a day tells me that it moves, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I would probably have targeted either the 165, or I like to get something just a little bit higher if I'm doing puts. So maybe the 170, give myself a little bit of space in case it falls short. I would get the 170. So what are we talking, from 193 down to 170 is about $23 move. Now with the ticker that moves $11 a day on average, I would say it's fair to say that probably within a 2-week to a month time frame, that if the move is deliberate enough, it's going to get there. So what do? We started, this is day one, we entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So it only took a week. So you would have been
Right.
fine if you had gotten something 2 weeks out. Hell, if you even wanted to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more days, so 12 days, yeah, you would have been even better. Or
But I like, what, I like the idea of that month, because if you were to get some little back and forth action and the play didn't invalidate or didn't stop you out, it would, it wouldn't eat up your contract so bad.
exactly. And you know what? I'm so glad you said that, because that's why I like going out further time. The theta almost doesn't matter. I'm not saying it don't matter, but because of the time that I put on the contract, it's as if it doesn't, because I've given myself enough time. So like, for example, I'm in CCL puts, right? I know right now it's bullish. I know it's there's a method to my madness, all right? But I'm in puts for it right now, and I've given myself a month out for that thing to move. I from where I anticipate it to go, and where I anticipate the reversal to happen, it's gonna need to move somewhere around $1.30 to $1.50 back down below 14, right? I've given it a month to do that. This is a ticker that moves about 50 cents a day, so I know in a 4-week time frame, actually it's more than 4 weeks, but I've given it enough time that for it to do what it's doing right now, and then actually drop. Matter of fact, I thought it was actually going to do it today, but it stuck with my original theory of going back up. And it was actually up 22% today. But then the bulls started kicking in. I think it's like down like 5% now, but that is what it is what it is. But to answer your question, yes, that's the reason why I usually kind of double up on everything, right? So for me, anything that I'm taking off of a daily entry, um, if it's a fast moving ticker, higher ATR, I'm probably looking at something a week to 2 weeks out. But if it's, I guess mid to low, I'm probably considering a month out, if not a month and a half, or possibly 2 months. And again, this is not the all-knowing 100% right way. It's just the way that I do it. There's a reason why I chose McDonald's 3 months out, because I believe we entered them in April, to get to 300, because I know there was going to be some noise along the way. Let me see the question.
Thank you.
When calculating the ATR, is that based on the OCH or L? Actually, it's built into the thing, so I got to find that out. But good question. It's the average of the highs. Thank you, Biker. All right, cool. Original has in loads of each channel. Thank you so much. That helps. So see, so I fucks with Biker. Biker is so fun. Like, is there anything you don't know, Biker? Like for real. Like that's why he's like a walking encyclopedia of
No,
everything.
I don't know a lot of shit, bro. I'm trying to learn every day. I'm obsessed with learning though. That's the like I hate not knowing shit. So
I chase the aha moments. It's not really about the money. Well, I
man,
mean, the money's
that's
fun, but yeah,
that shit is like a drug. And like the more you see it, it's like it's crazy.
I feel
I,
like to get a little nerdish, like you this Dungeon Dragon character, and you like picking up skills and shit as you go, and you become like this awesome, like knowledgeable motherfucker. Anyway, I'm showing my nerd, so let me stop. But yeah, so what we did is we took out again, we took out the lows over here, right? So and this is all a part of what I do, right? As you can see, it's a lot of stalking. So that's what I mean when I say it requires a lot of patience, bro. It really does. It's not something that is impulsive. You can actually wait um for because like technically the first move would have been here, right? To take this shooter and take it down. But you see, I waited for the secondary move, right? I waited for Price to come back and revisit the same area before I could have easily told y'all, yeah, here's a shooter too, take it. And that's why I wanted to point that out with the strat. I think a lot of people are doing the mechanical part of it, but not like understanding the why behind it, right? You don't have to be the first one in, right? You could have easily, yes, you could have taken this, but most people would take this and like, okay, well, we're targeting this target, and it starts reverse. Oh, well, okay, it's just a retracement. It's just a retracement, right? And let's say you didn't give yourself enough time on the contract. By the time this shit gets back up here, you're way in the red. And worse yet, you're gonna exit the trade only for that shit to go where it was supposed to go to begin with. Tell me that net didn't happen to anybody in here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know how to shit. What am I? Yeah, no, you good food. Um, we should take like all the comments in quotes. Story of my life with AMD. As a matter of fact, we're gonna talk about AMD because that was one of the things that Sal pointed out. But anyway, let's finish this out real quick, right? So we're at the bottom of the range. What are we doing? Nothing yet, right? We don't have anything. And this is the thing. Even though this thing may continue going up, we didn't get an actionable signal, right? We didn't get an actionable signal, not yet. So technically, we don't trade it, right? I know we got that reversal, but that's another thing too. A lot of people try to take like, all right, I'm gonna take this reversal. And that's cool. Yes, it would have been successful, but sometimes that reversal is just really, again, manipulation only to continue taking it down further south. All right. Now, this too, I might pay attention to this shooter. Why? Because we're exhausting in the same exact area that we've exhausted before, right? We got our previous high, dipped, came back to retest it, and then we exhausted again. So let's see what happens. See, nothing actionable yet. And this is why we watch and we wait for that confirmation, right? So all that was just basically a fake out, probably profit taking. But then also more importantly, we haven't made a higher high yet. We've still technically just been on this downtrend. And it just keeps falling down. So all this was basically just a retracement, only to, yep, now we just push lower, right? That's all that happened. We just continued pushing lower. Let's see if we take this out. Boom. So we did. All right. So let's stop, pause right there, right? So we gapped on that. Let me clear this out. Actually, this is what I want. All right. So now we have a broadening formation. We actually gap up. I'm not really sure what happened there. Maybe some news on that day because earnings didn't happen just yet, right? And with gappers, honestly, I tend to leave them alone. I don't want to jump in them immediately. I would like a pullback before I jump into them. I know it's hard for some people to deal with that or to accept that because yeah, I get it. Like markets running up on a day like this, it gapped up. People would have been excited. 129 all the way up to 140. Yeah, people would have been fucking excited. You know, snow's about to come back. It just took out a low as well too. And you know, it could very well continue running, but I would like to see maybe a pullback into the gap before continuing on. So then I would have just missed out on this and that would have been okay. All right, let's talk continuation.
Not so fast.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What's
Hold
up?
on, not so fast. Let that play out.
Oh, fine. All right.
I said let that play out. Skip like four. Use the skip button. Skip like 5 candles.
All right, there you go. That's 5.
You ain't missed out on nothing.
Yeah,
Yep,
I really
you ain't missed
did.
out on nothing.
Nope. I probably would have been fucking
That's a
freaked
day
out.
tension, like, bro. You know exactly, like you said it. You know exactly where that shit was going, like back into that gap.
Yep.
There was no reason for price to go back down there.
And that's the thing, right? So now, all right. So again, strat mechanically, right, would have told you to, from this inside candle, it's an actionable signal. Strat mechanically would have told you enter this trade, right? Because what does the combo say? The combo says 212. You enter on the inside, you take the 2 up, right? Only for that shit to be a failing trade. All right. So this is where again you have to be aware of certain things like that. The gap as well too. Now gaps is not just a strat thing, but stratters do pay attention to it. So that gap, and again, this is also what I mean when I say you don't have to be the first one in. You can wait for price to come back. I'm sorry, let me get rid of this. This bug is bugging me. You can wait for price to come back into the gap, maybe to try to fill it or potentially to bounce off of it. Oh, shit. What just happened? My bad. What did I do? Ah, shit. My bad, y'all. Here we go. Grab all my numbers. Fuck it. We don't have time to waste. I'll fix it later. I don't know. I fixed it before. I know exactly what I did. I just can't remember the key combination. Sorry, y'all. I got to get rid of all this shit.
How did you go to a different layout like that?
I have different windows with different layouts. I'm weird. I'm weird like that. Don't mind me. I don't know why. Like I look at, for example, the VIX. I look at the VIX in a certain layout compared to everything else. It's
Bro,
gray with red candles. Yeah, it's
association. That's all it is.
Like the candle, it's literally like a heat theme. It's a gray background with red candles, but the outlines are black and white depending on the direction of the candle. And I don't know. I just only look at the VIX like that, but everything else, I'll look at like this or whatever. Oh shit, my bad. Actually, let's fucking play it out. Fuck it. We don't need the numbers. All right, so let's see what happens. So okay, so now we get a hammer. So this one might have some potential. So this one I wouldn't mind taking, right? Because what do? We came back to the gap. We wicked off of it the first time. We hammered the second time. We have an actionable signal. So I would have taken entry right here. And again, if I wanted to keep it tight, I would have targeted most likely this magnitude up here at the top. So for something like this, or a ticker that runs $11 a day, I probably would have gotten something 2 weeks out, right? So my entry's here. I'm up already so far. Keep it playing. Let's see what happens. All right. We haven't invalidated trade yet.
Y'all see the consolidation happening?
Boom. Failing trade, right? That's on me. Completely on me. Right? Failing trade. We're back into the gap. So for me, where the exit would have been, right? So we got up here, right? We triggered up here. So once the reversal happened here, from here to here, right? So we go 2 inside followed by 2 down. That's a 2-1-2 reversal. I'm out of the trade. The important thing is I'm not doing this to show you how successful the trades are. I'm showing you this more to show you how to be disciplined and save your portfolio, right? You got to get rid of that what if. That's the reason why you keep holding on to trades. What if it does reverse? Here's the thing. If there is a reversal, Strat will show you and give you another entry. All right? And if you fucking miss it, you miss it. Defense wins championships. So I'm limiting my losses, right? I'm limiting my losses because again, entries up here at 170, 140, whatever and change, and exit is at 141. So my contract shouldn't be that bad, especially if I gave time on it. Let me see what's in the chat. I got different layouts depending on it. Yep, me too. I actually have a different layout for futures as well. Yep. I don't know, call it weird or whatever. I don't give a shit. It just it works, right? So let's continue. See, it gave you the entry. So because even though it reversed here, and let's say you got out, right? It gave you another entry, right? So you got out here, but then you would have been able to re-enter back here, right? Now, again, me personally, because the gap fill wasn't invalidated, I probably would have stayed in. But that all depends on your portfolio's risk tolerance. If you don't have a high risk tolerance to deal with that, because this could very well continue to reverse on me, and that's it, I'm done, right? So if you don't have that risk tolerance, and when I say risk, I mean proper risk tolerance. I don't mean drop your nuts and I'm okay mentally if I lose the trade. No, I mean risk tolerance, right? How much are you willing to risk on that trade? Or did you put in I guess a small enough amount that even if that trade were to go to zero, that you can still survive off of that? There we go. It was bugging me.
I want y'all to get into habit too. Like when you see something falling that after it ran up or a trend or whatever the case may be, like, and you see an actionable signal. So Tensho saw that hammer, right? He saw that 2 down hammer and that was appealing to him with upside potential. First thing you should do is put a fib on it and see where did it catch that bounce at. I really want y'all to get into that.
Good idea.
Because that, like, these levels are sexy to some people. So that level that Tensho initially, I mean that candle he initially looked at, that was actually a great entry. It just didn't work out that time. But if you see they dropped it down to a little bit cheaper and you see it bounce cleanly off of that level.
An even better entry.
So that's why if you have time, you can hold through drawdowns like that. Because like that's the last level of defense. If it breaks below that, it's over with. But it didn't even break below it. So that's why that time, whoever said it, they looking at monthlies and stuff like that, you go be in really good shape because trades are not gonna have really any effect on you.
Yep. And this,
but get in the habit of putting fibs on things. And
absolutely.
if you need help, reach out.
Yeah, please do. Biker is who I learned fibs from. And I'm not gonna lie, the fibs have actually, I won't say saved, but they have definitely allowed me to hold on to certain trades a little bit longer to get the higher reward. Like when, for example, when Strat or even what I'm looking at says, okay, it's time to get out and take profit. When I run the fibs, when I see that retracement coming back and respecting those fibs and bouncing off of it, it allows me to stay in for the move, potentially to move higher to take out the next leg, right? In Strat terms, that's the TTO. If you don't know what a TTO is, that's fine. I do plan on kind of doing another Strat session next week where we talk about, TTOs. We talk about, the flip, uncoupling, what the next candle is supposed to do. or like what's the setup for the next 1 to 2 candles. Is there a recording on Fib? Yeah, I think Biker has a recording on Fibs in the education tab. I
Yeah,
believe.
I do. I
Yeah.
do. We have Q&As every Thursday too. At 8. So make sure all y'all show up to that. And that's where I'll answer any questions or I'll teach it to you.
Yeah.
But just how, and Tensho was very transparent. He said, this trade might have not worked out, hit his stop loss. But guess what? You put those fibs on it and you see that big 3-bar, that bounce right there, you line that ass up again.
Yep.
You lost on the first one, that don't mean you got to keep losing. You know that it looks bullish from this point. So you lost the first one, line it up again.
Yep.
Try to strike or knock it out the second time.
And the thing that I also like now, this doesn't always confirm, but the thing that I'm also looking at, oh Jesus, I really gotta get that shit fixed, the password thing. The thing that I'm looking at too is that if you notice, we've been continuously making lower lows on this on this downtrend, right? So I like the fact that one, we're now starting to make higher lows. We made a higher low from this bounce off. So that was why also this hammer over here kind of appealed to me. But obviously you still need to draw down a little bit more. But either way, the point is you play defense, right? You got out, and now to take this entry, you still have a lot of your port. The problem is that a lot of people risk a lot on the initial trade, and when that trade goes bad, you don't have enough portfolio or buying power, if you will, to get into the trade that actually worked. So when by the time it gets here, you've depleted. Now you're pissed because shit is running up from 145, right? Now we done took out 1, 2, 3, 4 magnitudes in one candle, right? 4 magnitudes or price targets, if you will, in one candle. So let's say you entered this trade, and again, I don't know, probably still targeted maybe the high up here, if you're swinging it, right? It gets up to about 154 from 141. That's a pretty nice start off on a swing, right? That's I mean shit, we couldn't have hoped for anything better than that. Let me see. What's your Discord name? Oh, Monroe. Okay, got you. I love my baby mama for life. Clay, what the something wrong with you, yo. We gotta get his brains like yo. The way he comes up with the shade, yo. Um, that's good that you love your baby mama though. Anyway, so let's see what happens, right? So we go inside. See, so once we get, so again, still good trade, but once we get that reversal back to the downside, we probably close out for profit, right? We get an inside candle, we close out for profit. And again, the gap fill still isn't invalidated. We'll see what happens. But yeah, again, you're playing defense. I want you to get in the habit of doing that, right? In the habit of playing that defense. I don't want you to get into the habit of, holding on to that because that's where the problem lies, right? And I'm just giving it to you, raw. I don't have like some perfect setup where like, yeah, it's gonna work every single time. No, that's not the case, right? There's actually a couple of different entries and exits that one could take. Now, for me, again, because I have a tendency to give things time, I might have held through all this. But again, that depends on your portfolio and how much you can risk and how much time. For me, I'm okay with holding on to this because the gap fill is never invalidated. So, but y'all know I'm not just a pure strat trader. So I do use different things besides strat to invalidate. But I'm teaching you what strat would say would invalidate your trade and when to get out of your trade. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as you can see it reverse, you end up in some pretty nice profit if you had a chance to take it, right? Now, in the interest of time, it's 10:40. Yeah, let me get to Sal's stuff real quick. Let me exit this. We can do more run-throughs of the back testing. Let's go here. Close. Okay. Sal said, let me look at the list. He said, oh, actually, Snow first. Let me see what he put in Sal alerts. He said, see what I put in Sal alerts. Sal alerts. Okay. Chart snow. So he's looking at hybrid time frames. Okay. So for swing traders, you always want to look at the month and see how the month is shaping up. Obviously, the month is not done, but what do you notice? One, from this swing point, we've been making higher lows, right? And then two, we got a 2-2 reversal currently on the month. Now, again, the month is not done, but it is currently up in force. Full time frame continuity on the month is showing bullishness. Now, Sal said, look on the week. So we got a 3-2. Said 3-2-2 rep strat on the 2 week. Not yet. If it's a 3-2-2 rep strat, then we're gonna get a reversal to the downside. But what I will say is that we kind of get a double bottom there. We get the 3 and then we get the 2 up, and it's a hammer on the 2 week. When does the 2 week close? Monday. Oh, so this week. So yeah, this would be good to look at. If this stays as a hammer, the next candle probably is going to continue up. And like Biker was saying, if you're going to use like the weekly targets, right? Obviously, you can't just skip straight from 167 all the way up to 235. So this is where you probably want to draw your fibs from the high down to the lows. And so you can use the fibs as targets. So for me, I probably would target the equilibrium at 190, possibly the 200 as well too, if you were to jump into calls or to reverse back up, back to the upside. All right. If there's any questions about that, say so. Oh, my bad. Just put did you take volume into consideration when trading? Nope, I don't. With the strat, all right. So for me, I learned strat from Strat Purist. Rob's a Strat Purist. Strat Soldier is a Strat Purist. I would even say Sarah to some level, even though technically the 50% retrace is not a strat term or a strat thing. Since she's such like, I guess, the authority, one of the authorities on strat, especially now that Rob has passed on, rest in peace. She came up with that. But anyway, the point is, with the strat is designed so technically and honestly, you don't need nothing else. Real shit. The only if I'm using just the strat alone, the only indicator I should be using is just the strat teach. There's no, fair value gaps. There's no support and resistance. There's no volume. I'm not looking at RSI, anything like that. I'm just trading price. That's it. Right? That's all I'm doing. Let me see. Right, I agree. Yeah. So like the volume doesn't really mean shit to me at all. And I know some people use it for trading, and kudos to you, but yeah, nothing for me. All right, so looking at the 2 week, it's a 3-2 up. Looking at the week, we do have a 2-2 continuation, right? So it's painting a picture of bullishness, right? Then we can zoom in onto the daily, and we got a hammer on the daily as well too. So notice how I started out wide and then I started zooming in into the smaller time frames. But you excuse me, you want to know what the higher time frames are doing, right? You want to know because higher time frames normally went out. So if you had, for example, the quarter, the month that were bearish and the week is, maybe setting up an inside bearish candle, I'm probably thinking twice before I think about calls on a daily. You feel me? I'm sorry, hold up. Let me see what we got in chat. Does Rob also use? No. Again, hybrid timeframes were not a part of the strat whatsoever. I do implement ICT as well too, but I'm trying to just keep it just to the strat part. And trust me, I think I've been doing a really good ass job because there's so much ICT shit I've been seeing in these charts and I have not said anything about it. Rob uses, yep, he did 16 daily, weekly, and monthly. Yep.
Tensho, that's kind of why I've been like telling you to play stuff out because I'm seeing it too, but I can't really tell them why I see it though.
Yep.
It's
So,
like, hold on, no, that's
so
not what's supposed to happen.
yo,
But
I am mentally giving myself kudos because I have bitten my tongue so many different times. Yo.
yeah, I'm like, let me just stay on mute.
um,
Hi, I have a quick question.
of course, go ahead.
So why, I don't know, maybe I missed something, but why are we like so strictly doing strat and not combining the other stuff?
Because I feel like with the okay, the strat is the foundation, right? I'm gonna stick to my guns and say that the strat is the foundation. That's what should be learned first. Then learn the ICT because there are a lot of ICT concepts that, how can I put it? They make sense simply because of what I know from the strat, right? And then also I've noticed that there are some differences. So like where ICT tells you things invalidate might go further than your stop losses where strat would tell you to get out, right? So I think for me, the strat is what creates the discipline. The ICT tells you where to look. Does that make sense?
Yes, okay, yeah, sorry, because I was like, oh, isn't it best to kind of do like a hybrid thing? But if like, so it's just
What?
because we're beginners, okay.
Yeah. And now I gotta admit, yes, I do. And even with my call outs, yes, they do combine strat and ICT. But I really want to get, yeah, like you said, the beginner, I really want to get that down pat. I want to teach and I really want the foundation to be laid in, the discipline to be laid in. And yes, it's gonna be boring in the beginning. I get it, but this is going to save the portfolios. There are too many DMs that I've seen some of the admins get, or even things that I'm seeing out in set in the Discord, where I'm seeing people are blowing accounts, not really having the discipline of a stop loss, not really having the discipline of where to take profit. I think that's the bigger one, the taking profit area, where to get out of that trade because of, again, FOMO, right? So that's why I want the strat stuff to kick in. And then once you start learning the ICT, then you can start making those choices of like, okay, like I know strat tells me to get out here, but I have conviction in this, so I'm going to stay in a little bit longer. So at least you're making a calculated, um, not calculated guess, but you're making a calculated risk, right? With thought process in it, and not just okay, let's just see where it goes because it's running up right now.
Evie, I'm gonna be honest with you too. Like, if I learned ICT first, or if I tried to learn ICT first, I probably would have quit. Like, and I'm just being honest with you. It's so much information. And the way he teaches is kind of like you kind of already have to, it's like you already have to have some type of background knowledge of something. Like the strat is a very scenario strategy. ICT is price action. It's like raw price action. And if you don't know price action, then you can get lost very quickly. And the strat kind of teach, like, without you even knowing it, the strat teaches you price action. Like if you know what a TTO is, then you have a good understanding of price action. The ICT just gives certain things names that you kind of already knew, but you didn't know, like, oh, that's what that is, or that's why that happens.
Yeah.
ICT kind of gives you the why, and it's almost like a crystal ball. I'm not even gonna lie. Like you like, oh, that's why that happens because this is here, that's there. I've been studying ICT for months, and I'm still on month 2 in the videos, and that's just because I can't allow myself to move forward without if I'm learning something, I don't move forward until I can teach somebody. Like I have a full understanding. And keep in mind, I study every day, and I'm still on month 2. So I mean, you could be a quicker learner or whatever, but it's a lot of information. I'm not even gonna lie to you, and it can be overwhelming.
Yep. And so that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this, but there are certain things where I'm looking at what price is doing, where I will make a decision based on strat over ICT, and vice versa. I'll make a decision based on ICT over strat, but I'll still understand what they're both telling me.
Yep.
Right? So, and yeah, ICT, oh Jesus. Like I'm still watching, like I've been stuck on this video with, not stuck like I don't understand it, but I've been stuck on watching the same fair value gap video that talks about which fair value gaps are more important than the others, right? And I just keep watching it again and again and again. Like Biker said, I I want to keep watching it to the point where I can understand it, to the point where I can explain it. Or if I need to, I can explain it to you through strat terms, right? So that
Yep.
you get it. Um,
Don't y'all worry though. As soon as I learn every concept to the point where like whatever question you have, I have the answer. I will be teaching classes on it. But
hell
I
yeah.
got I got a long way to go for that.
Bro,
But
I just started getting on. I already watched the video, but I just started coming back to breaker blocks. Like Jesus Christ.
yeah.
But I love the theory though, the explanation behind it. Jesus. Anyway, so what Sal is talking about here is we have full time frame continuity, with snow, right? I like to draw my broad informations on the weekly, but you can technically draw them anywhere on any different time frame, right? So we got a high, from a low to a lower low right there, and then if you want to draw back to, probably would be there, right? So obviously we got a lot of range. Um, Looking at the daily, again, same thing. You could, if you wanted to draw, it would have been from here to there. Boom, boom, right? I probably would have just left this bottom one alone, right? But you could technically, again, draw, there's multiple broad informations, but this is the one that I would have drawn. So what Sal is talking about is that you have, one, we got to pull back, and now we're seeing that reversal. We have a 3 that took out the previous high as well too. So you're looking for a 3-2 continuation. Now strat wise, I'm not sure what strike Sal is looking at, but strat wise, your first target, let's say the 3 triggers tomorrow to the upside, your first target's there, 165.89. If you're focusing on daily targets, right? Each target would be a high, right? And then the next high before that, time wise, right? So we got that, and then we have another high, another top right there, and then right there. Now ICT tells you, shit, forget it. So back to strat, right? So basically, these are all take profit targets if price comes up and touches and either exhaust, it might reverse off of them. But that's how you can play it out, right? If you notice, right, once we get here, if price goes up and let's say you start to see possible exhaustion, you can cut the trade. Or if you get a reversal, you can cut the trade. Or you can walk it up as it takes out the different magnitudes, you can continue to walk it up. Now, before I started learning ICT, I used to do this. I used to get multiple contracts on the trade, and I probably wouldn't target the first magnitude, but more than likely the second. Like if it got to the second or possibly the third, that's where I'll probably start trimming my contracts, depending on how much time I had on it. I honestly, if I had it like long term, how I normally trade, my targets are normally on the week. But you know, let's say I was in like a 2 week contract, or no, excuse me, a 2 week expiration contract, then yeah, I would walk it up once it hits second or third, probably trim a little bit, maybe take half off the table and let the runners run. If the runners run up even further, shit, that's better. Hell, there's a gap up there as well too. So if you were gonna look to play this a little bit long term, then I would probably target this high right into that gap, right? It might, reject off of it. Either way, if you take it from what 160, or what would entry be? So entry would be 164.86, right? And if you, again, you would have to put a lot of time on it, not a lot, but you probably have to go like a month out. You could probably target the 200. Oh, I'm sorry, the ATR. Oh, that was back in the day when we're looking at it. So the ATR is about $5. So if it's $5 a day, then I probably would go a little bit further out than a month, because we're talking about a $40, $30 move essentially. So I might go out like a month and a half or whatever, take the 200 calls at a month and a half. But I would say, like, if you're trying to, do this in a little bit less of a time, I'll probably go target the 170s. Actually, the 170s for next week probably wouldn't be a bad idea. If it triggers to the upside, the 164.86, you grab the 170s. I don't know how much they cost, but you grab the 170s, and yeah, as it takes out targets, you can, take your profit, leave runners or whatnot. Other thing, because I know we're pressed for time, it's 11. Jesus, I didn't mean to go this long. I'm gonna just touch on AMD. Yeah, because we don't really have much time. I'm sorry, guys. What the hell was I drawing here? I was wrong either way. Let's see. What did he put? He said chart 1 and 2 weeks on the AMD, 10-day as well. So 2 weeks on AMD. Okay. So this is probably where, and Becker, always correct me if I'm wrong. I probably would have drawn fibs and see where the pullback was. So we did pull back to the 0.62 or 0.618, right? If you draw the fibs, because this is altered, but if you draw through the regular fibs, you'll probably be looking at the 0.618. Yeah, good spot. That would have been a good spot to get in. But either way, we're currently inside on the 2 week. So there is a chance that we go 2-2 reversal. Now, I don't use the hybrid timeframes for entries, but I use them to help support bias, right? So I'm probably going to zoom in on the weekly. Entry would have been good today, actually. Went 1-3. But either way, I could wait for the week to close if I wanted, and then take the 132 up if it does go 132 up. Or I can zoom in on the daily, right? So we have a Nirvana on the week. We are inside candle bullish on the 2 week, and then zoom in on the daily. On the daily, we got a 3-2 up, right? So we're looking for a 2-2 continuation after this 3. Man, that would have been a beautiful fucking entry. Anyway, so we get the 3-2, right? We're looking for the 2-2 continuation. So if you're looking to go calls, you got 159.69. And again, you can start marking out your targets, right? But if you're looking to go a little bit, as far as like a swing, honestly, yeah, no, that actually would have been a good entry right there up at 164. So I'll probably say look at AMD, because I know it can move. It's almost $6 a day. So I would probably say look at the 165s or 170s for next week for AMD. You could even probably use this as a lotto, maybe grab the 160s, depending on, I don't know where AMD is at after hours, but either grabbing the 165 or, the 160 to 165. But keep in mind, it's a lotto, right? So the moment that shit reverses on you, you got to get out. I'll strap more confused than I see in the beginning, but I think it's just me. No, it's all good. But that's the thing. Any questions, ask, right? Always. All right. So yeah, that's AMD. If you're looking to go, like, again, long term, maybe looking at the 2 week, I wouldn't say go back to all-time highs, but maybe even target up. Yeah, still 170. Yeah. So it all depends on if you want to give it time or if you want to try to gamble a little bit. But if it were me, I would give it time. I would say the 170, maybe 2-3 weeks out. And yeah, give AMD some time to run it up. And yeah, if you give it time and it runs up even more, shit, better. All right, so that's that. What was the other one that he wanted to look at? He said Chart Oracle, MA, and SE. In the interest of time, I'm going to leave that one up to you. But definitely Snow and AMD should be on your radar. Also, I know everybody probably looking at that shit, so might as well talk about it. I don't think SMCI is done. I don't know why that broad information is there. Don't mind all the boxes. I have not gotten rid of all of the ICT stuff yet. But let me get rid of this shit too. Yes, sir. You did exactly what I thought you were gonna do. God damn, came right back into that fair value gap and away she went. Okay. So yeah, I don't think we're done, right? I personally think SMCI is going to target this high. I don't know if it'll do it by the end of the week, possibly by next week though. So, barring something, bad or just a pullback for SMCI, I think we see 1020, 33 before before I think we see like a river, or at least if we don't get to 10, 20, 33, then we're gonna get, I would say somewhere around 990, 992, right? Anywhere in this area, in other words, you might see exhaustion and a pullback. But full time frame continuity is bullish. There is a lot of bullishness on the week as well, too, right? We get the pullback on the week, and then we ended up with the Nirvana on the week. I think on the 2 week is also looking. Yep, we got the 2-2 reversal on the 2 week. So I'm saying this to say, I hope the person, I don't know, their screen name is literally a period. So I hope that person's on here. Even with it doing what it's doing after hours, and I get that, it could reverse, and I'm not going to sit here and say like I know what SMCI is going to do. But even with it pulling back in the after hours, you got to stick to your conviction, right? All the higher time frames are bullish except for the quarter. And honestly, the quarter flips at 10:10, if I'm not mistaken. The quarter flips green at 10:10, right? So again, you got the weekly that is a Nirvana. 2 week gives you that 2-2 reversal. I think what's the monthly? Well, monthly's still inside, but if we get a strong push, we got, a couple weeks left in May here. We'll get a strong push. We can, obviously go 2-2 reversal on that as well too. So I don't think SMCI is done in my opinion. I would not, well, it depends on how much time you got on it. But if you took Sal's June calls, then yeah, you shouldn't be worried about a $12 drop or $20 drop in the after hours, right? Now, if this previous high gets taken back out and we close below this previous high, then yeah, I probably would be like, all right, get out of it. But not on some June calls, right? You got time. And even though I know the theta is high, but you got time. All right. Anyway, I've been watching 165, 170 since last week, and I got 170 for this weekend's rush. It ran, but then it reversed and died. Let me flip back to that real quick. It ran. You got it for this. So you probably got this run up here then, right? And then it reversed. So this just go, let me see what you say. An invalidation class might help at some point in the future. That's the thing. That's teaching ICT wise. Strat wise, it depends on where the entry is, but yeah, as soon as it reversed, as soon as you got that 2-2 reversal, you should have gotten out of the trade. So again, this is about teaching, again, purely the strat part of it, give you the discipline, then you can start elevating into invalidation points, etc. Let me see which, it's one in there. Boom. Well, there you go. Becker has a video as well too. So like, actually, I think Becker has a video for everything. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I really do. I think he has a video for everything now. I have the screenshot of the beginner chat on that trade. I'll tag you tomorrow. Oh, yeah, just, yeah, absolutely. Tag me and I'll take a look at it. But yeah, I probably would have taken the 170 for the following week. And that's what like just so I would say, Monroe, when you get in, right, before you take that trade, if I were you, if that seems to be the problem where it's like you didn't give the trade enough time, from now on, get an extra whatever you're getting, right? If you're gonna get a week, get an extra and get 2 weeks. If you're gonna get 2 weeks, go ahead and get 3, or go get a month. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself, because you're right about the direction, right? Your bias is obviously correct. But and honestly, you know what? AMD, if we get a strong push tomorrow and Friday, you very well may get to 170. But the point is that you give yourself more time. All right. Anyway, this video is going to take a minute to convert because it's been almost 2 hours, so it's going to take a minute to convert. So I may not drop this in this morning. I'm sorry, tonight, because the brother's actually tired. But I'll probably drop it in early in the morning. I'll try to get up early and drop that in early in the morning. I'll put it in. I created a channel for myself. Hold up, because I know like it's not technically education that I'm doing. It's more so. So I'm gonna put it in Tensho's weekly Zoom sessions, and then I'll just drop it in there like that. Boom. All right. If there are no other questions, oh shit, we still got 22 people. Hey, okay. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great night. Thank you so much for the engagement. Thank you so much for the interaction. And that's what we feed off of, y'all. So you vets that stayed in here for whatever reason and already know the strat, y'all weird, but thank you for the support. All right. Love y'all. Bye.